right. So, welcome to the Goob Squad. This is the Goob Show. We're gonna goob it out and goob-a-loob. Goob-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop. I'll cut that out. No, I won't, because I'll be too lazy. Yeah, so this is episode 8. We're gonna talk about, what was it again? DC Marvel, and then, like, actually, I think our first topic is going to be the actor and director that you're willing to watch regardless of how good or bad it is.
Right.
Like if you've checking out the reviews or something like that and you're like, I'll still watch it. So yeah. Who wants to start that one off? The recording has been on for a while, so yeah, it's still on. Yeah. So we're good to go.
I guess I'll start. It's on this podcast. It's Sean, Brenda, and me, Apollo. It's the three of us.
All right. Yes, I forgot.
Carlos isn't here.
Gonna have to re-roll that.
Redo. No, it's cool. We'll just
Carlos isn't here again, and D'Angelo is sitting this one out. Yeah. So, alright, so what is it? Okay. I have two. I have one actor, and then she's an actor, and I'll start with the second one. We talked about her last week. It's Phoebe Waller-Bridge, and she's an actress, and she's a writer and a comedian, producer, a bunch of stuff, but we talked about Fleabag last week, which is amazing. And she's also the producer and lead writer on a show called Killing Eve, which is really good. And there's another one called Run on HBO, which I haven't seen yet. But again, I'll watch it because she's doing it. And then she was in Solo, and then she's also one of the co-writers on the upcoming Bond movie, No Time to Die, which makes like that movie even more enticing to me, as if it like needed a reason to be. Even more tantalizing to watch for me. So yeah, I mean, I just love everything. She's just incredible. I already kind of gushed about her last week enough, but yeah, she's really funny. She's one of those writers or creators who just understands fundamentally like how the machine of writing a good, like the mechanics of writing a good like script or having a good joke, like she understands that like fundamentally, and there's not a lot of people in Hollywood who can say that. And then the other one, I guess the actor who I would pretty much just see in theaters and movies no matter what. And we've talked about this kind of ad nauseum offline, but that actor is Jake Gyllenhaal. I've seen a lot of his movies, and a lot of his movies are really good. Things like like Nightcrawler and
Prince of Persia.
Oh, that was a great one. Remember that? God. Yeah, so obviously he's had some good movies, some bad movies, but things like Nightcrawler and
I love him in Donnie Darko. I can never let go of
Donnie Darko, yeah, and Prisoners, the one with by Denis Villeneuve, and he's also in the other one. He's also in another Denis Villeneuve one called Enemy, where he plays like two different characters, but they're both himself, but it's part of the story. But that's also a really good movie. He has an intensity and a focus and a gravitas that he brings to every role. And even it's just like, I mean, even something like Zodiac too, he was in that has a great cast in it too. It's got Robert Downey Jr. and Mark Ruffalo, and he plays the main character who's like who wrote the Zodiac book and was actually there during investigating in the 60s and early 70s, investigating Zodiac, and yeah, he's just awesome. I don't really know exactly what to say more than that, but it's just like his movies, like any performance he does, he's always like he's awesome in it. Even if the writing sucks and the movie sucks, and like he's really really good. He's definitely one of my favorite actors out there, and yeah, I would say he's definitely one of the best out there.
Cool, cool. Brenda, do you have a favorite actor, director? Oh wait, actually, what about director? Do you have like a favorite
Um,
director that you was like, I'm gonna watch that regardless if it's getting poopy reviews?
uh, I mean, I guess like maybe like either I would say Spielberg of old, like Spielberg from like 1976 to
Mm.
like nine or to like maybe 2005. You know, who made Indiana Jones and Close Encounters and Saving Private Ryan and all that stuff. He's sort of fallen off in his older years, but that's fine because he's just made some of the best movies ever made. Um, I guess one of the more modern directors, I guess, just thinking off the top of my head, would probably be Nolan, Christopher Nolan. Like he's just everything he makes is pretty interesting. Even like some of the movies like Interstellar, which I wasn't crazy about. Like I love space and I love all that entire concept and the exploration of it and like having to save mankind from famine and all this stuff. Like super interesting, but the movie didn't really connect with me as hard as something like Inception or the Dark Knight trilogy did. But like he really brings something. He really is a visionary director, and that word is thrown around a lot, and it's usually not true. But with Nolan, it is true. And he just every movie he brings out, even if it's not the best thing ever, I always appreciate that he made it, and I think that's super important. And we definitely need more filmmakers like him.
Yeah, I also like the stuff from Memento.
Oh
Memento's
yeah,
fantastic. Prestige.
Yeah,
yeah.
Is,
The
he's
Prestige is amazing. Yeah.
Brenda
yeah,
just
he's one of
recently saw
those
that one.
directors that I would choose to watch whatever he comes out with,
Yeah.
regardless if it's crappy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, regardless of
All
people
his
like,
big
oh, this is
majority,
not his best.
I would say 80-90% of his movies are like on par.
Oh yeah.
There will be a few hit and miss, like you said, but that's how it is with every director.
Oh yeah. There's definitely not a director with like a perfect filmography. That just doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Right, right.
Yeah, so I think Christopher Nolan is one of them. Another one for me would be actually Ridley Scott.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ridley Scott is
It's a
old
good one.
school, but I do like a lot of his movies. I mean, I think he has had some hit or miss, but the whole Alien franchise, Blade Runner, you know, um, he's also
I mean,
what else did he
Gladiator is
direct?
one of those ones that
Yeah.
I think a lot of people forget that he did that.
Yeah, he did that one, and
But
he
everybody
also
remembers that movie, And on top of that, historically, a lot of things that they do in there is just like it doesn't make sense to some degree.
Yeah.
yeah,
But it
yeah.
it doesn't matter
He directed
'cause
The Martian too.
it was really well
Yeah.
done. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he did.
He did The Martian. He did
Martian.
Legend, 1985 Legend, and he did
Oh, yeah.
Hannibal.
Yeah, we're talking
Oh,
about
yeah.
like Well, another example of like it's one of those things where like the movie ain't great and it's kind of like it's very movie, fantasy in the sense that like it doesn't some of that shit doesn't make sense. like but it has a hit or miss situation too, but you can't take away the fact that the special effects on there was so amazing. What was his name? Tim Curry, right? Tim Curry, I think it's Tim Curry. Did
Yeah.
amazing job as Darkness, like in that all the devil horn and the way he acted. Like even to this day, a lot of people will like use that as like say, man, that was like that was really great acting and like the look of the character was really well done. The atmosphere was well done. But of course, there's always like a different version of it too. Whereas like there's a UK version of it, and then there's the American version of it where they changed the music. One was meant to be more kind of set to the tone of the world that they're in, very Lord of the Rings, classical music. Not classical, but like music that says fantasy. But then when they brought it to America, they had to they put in this like, let's jazz it up a bit with some like fucking some fucking rock band or whatever. I forget what it was.
Right.
But yeah, I like that. That's one of those movies for sure. I agree, Brenda. So which one's your favorite?
Out of both of them?
I don't know, of like any of the Ridley Scotts. Like what's the one that it's like his best?
Oh, all from his films?
Mm-hmm.
Do I have to pick one singular one?
You can rank them. Like
Okay.
this is like my top 3 or something like that, or top 5.
Let's see. Well, for sure, my top one will be the Alien
Yeah.
movie, and then from there, it will be Blade Runner. What else did he? And, Hannibal. In Blade Runner, I'm counting 1 and 2. Blade Runner 2049 also, and Hannibal, the 2001 Hannibal.
Wait. How do you count the second one with Ridley Scott though? He's only producer.
Is he?
Yeah.
For you mean for
Denis Villeneuve directed the second
Denis
one.
Villeneuve. He was the
Okay,
director.
then it'll probably be the first one then. I always get it confused.
Yeah. So he was the only producer on that, and he had Denis Villeneuve is the one that directed the most current 2048 one. Yeah, Denis Villeneuve does a lot of good stuff too.
Oh yeah,
he's definitely up there. Yeah, Tangerine Dream soundtrack. They tried to put in that music in all of the, like they basically were using the movie to promote the music and vice versa, where the music was also promoting the movie, because people knew about Tangerine Dream more than they knew about this kind of fantasy movie called Legend.
Oh yeah,
it's a funny
I think for
movie.
actor, for me, one of them will be Carl Urban.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
fucking love Carl Urban. I think he's
love
one of the. I think he's the most underrated actor like in Hollywood. He's so good.
Yeah, agreed.
I'm glad you mentioned him, because that's definitely another actor where I watch like everything he's in. Regardless.
He's so underrated, and he's been on these movies, and I'm just like, why is he in like, It's like, it's almost like he's still in like the B list. He's not in the A list.
He definitely is. Yeah, for sure.
It's like he's been in so many things.
Yeah.
And even if it's small roles, he's still good at it, even if it's something so small. You know? He's never been he's never really been like a leading man.
Yeah, he's not really a star, unfortunately. But he's definitely like, he kind of steals the show whenever in anything he's in, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just recently he's in The Boys.
Yeah.
So and I like that show.
Oh yeah.
I haven't read the comics, but just watching the show, I just like his character.
Yeah, his acting in it is great.
His acting in it, yeah.
And it's interesting too that in The Boys they don't really have like a lot of like prominent actors too. So it's nice to see that like we have a show that's full of these more or less unknowns. I mean, they're not unknown, but like
they're not big names.
They're not big names. Yeah, but they have this show that really is taking off, I'd say, and good job to Amazon to nail something, for themselves, the streaming service, and good job for him to have it's a leading role for that one. I'd say it's leading. Even though he has that other character, there is that other character, right? That lost his girlfriend and stuff like that. I still feel like he's like the main character, the main draw.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So hopefully that gets him more roles that kind of.
Well,
like,
the thing
put him
is,
in that-
he's not like an A-list star, but he definitely does work a lot, which I'm glad about. Like you see him pretty much everywhere, like consistently, which is great. And he's been working consistently for like 20 years, so that's good. Because a lot of underrated actors like oftentimes have a lot of trouble finding work, but it doesn't seem to really be an issue for him.
Yeah.
Another actor that I would watch also would be Mads Mikkelsen.
That's another great choice. Yeah, I totally agree with that.
There's
Mads Mikkelsen's. Yeah.
Was that movie that we saw? It was on Netflix. He played an assassin.
Polar?
Yeah, Polar. So that was like based on a graphic novel. I'm not saying that's a great show, but I still watched it just because he was in it.
Yeah.
And it's just cool seeing him being Mads Mikkelsen in there. It's almost like Liam Neeson, like you're watching a Liam Neeson movie. You're like, I don't care how illogical this show or movie is.
Oh yeah, I mean the Taken franchise is ridiculous, but I love it because Liam Neeson is just kicking ass.
I will find you, and I will find you and kill you. And it's like now he's really kind of just known for that now.
Yeah, that make me a nightmare for people like you. And then what about that? What about those scenes where he's jumping over a fence and they keep on cutting?
That's the third one. There's like 50 cuts. Like it's so stupid.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous. It's like, why do you have to do that many cuts?
Can't even tell what's going on.
Yeah, it's like imagine you doing a cut of trying to make you walking upstairs dramatic. Dun, 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 dun. That's essentially what that is. Like making such a simple task look like it's some like dramatic actiony movie thing. It's like it's almost like they ran out of stuff and they're like, I was like, oh man, he's too old. He can't jump over that fence so dramatically. We have to spice it up a bit. And then they just have all these camera angles of him doing it. Oh my god. So okay, you talked about your favorite director, right? And you said your Carl Urban was your actor.
Okay.
Any
and then
actresses?
like Mads Mikkelsen.
Oh yeah, Mads Mikkelsen. Yeah, he's up there. What about actresses? Any actresses?
You would say actor still.
That is true.
True.
For female actor, I mean, like, there's a lot of female actors, but the ones that I've known and seen are mostly like in comedies or romantic comedies, which is I'm just like, I don't really like as much.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to pinpoint.
What about The Notebook? You watched that like crazy.
It's hard for me to pinpoint a female actor.
Okay.
Oh,
okay.
Like I have to think about it.
Okay. No problem.
I would say if I'm gonna put a female actor into the mix, like Lena Headey. She's on Game of Thrones and she plays Cersei and she's played Sarah Connor in the Sarah Connor Chronicles and
she was in Dredd too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's in Dredd. She plays Mama on that. She's like Carl Urban. I feel like she's so underrated, and I've been such a fan of hers for so many years. And she gets a lot of work too, and yeah, she is incredible. I really, really love her.
Yeah, she's a good one.
I'm kind of looking up a little bit. It's like so many of them that I will probably say, going old school, either Meryl Streep or Cate Blanchett.
Cate Blanchett.
But I'll probably go more with Cate Blanchett. I've liked her roles in movies.
Oh yeah, okay.
Wait, who did you say? It like cut out for a second.
Cate Blanchett.
Cate Blanchett.
Oh yeah, she's
Cate Blanchett and Meryl Streep.
Yeah, Meryl Streep, of course. Yeah. Yeah, Cate Blanchett's amazing.
Yeah, and she's played some roles that like the movies aren't like, oh man, it's gonna put you up a Academy Award winning situation. She's played like some like pretty good variety of roles, honestly.
Oh yeah.
Like it's pretty widespread, I would say. Like a combination of some that is just kind of like closer to, you could tell it's like closer to the heart to play these roles, and then there's other ones that's just doing it for fun, and then others that just like people wanted her to be in it just because of her name.
Yeah.
How to Train Your Dragon, I didn't realize that she was in there.
Yeah, I mean, she's in Hot Fuzz and she doesn't even show her face. She's only in the one scene.
She's the forensic people.
Yeah, she has a mask on the whole time. Like you
Like
don't
the ex-girlfriend's like, oh yeah, I'm breaking up with you or something like that.
Yeah, Janine.
Yeah, and she did it just because she thought it would be fun. Like, and she was only there for a day, and like, but that's awesome.
Hilarious.
I mean, I think one of my favorite movies with Cate Blanchett is the 1998 Elizabeth. Have you guys seen that one?
Yeah.
That one is just one of my favorites. And then another one of my favorites, it's more fairly new. It's called Carol. Have you guys heard of that one?
Carol. No, not me. Wait, can you describe it?
So Carol, it takes place in the 1950s. It's about a woman that's not satisfied with her marriage, and she meets this other younger girl in a department store, and they actually end up getting into a relationship. Like during the times where
it's like they had to
having that kind of relationship was not really, it was frowned upon.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's actually, she did some really good acting in it. The movie was okay, but her acting was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it says here, an aspiring photographer develops an intimate relationship with an older woman in 1950s New York. It has Rooney Mara as the other actress. She was in The Girl Dragon Tattoo, Side Effects, and Social Network. Yeah. Directed by Todd Haynes. Okay. Okay, so I guess I'll go. So for me, it might be a little hard because there's just so many. But I'll go with let's see. I like I have to say, like, I like the roles that Ryan Gosling does. There's a lot of roles that he plays, that a lot of movies that are not, that is just like really not like typical or something that I think of him as.
Yeah.
I am like, of course, Blade Runner for sure. Like the 2049, that was like amazing. I love that. I love his role in it. And then I feel like he, to some degree, like he plays a lot of roles that feel like he's taking advantage of that one that Ryan Gosling effect, which is kind of funny to me. Like it's kind of a meme that he just needs to sit there and stare off into space, and it's brooding, and it's brooding, but you're like it's a combination of like the girl is gushing over it, but then he's in a role where it's all like, oh, he's kind of like, he's a badass, like he's thinking deep right now.
Yeah.
like there's some sort of poetic thing happening in his head you don't know about, but for all you know, he's actually just thinking
he's
about,
like, I'm just getting paid
or
just
not
to
even
stare
that.
into space.
He's like, no, he's thinking of like, what I'm gonna eat for breakfast tomorrow. Sunny side up or scrambled? Is it over easy? Like something stupid, and it's like, and yet he's in these like really like deep kind of roles, and he'll play like roles that are like in movies that like he doesn't it's he's not there. I think he's like very specific about what he's choosing.
Oh yeah.
I think, yeah. I like that movie Drive. That Drive was really good. And then I watched that The Place Beyond the Pines. Like that one, I really enjoyed too. And then of course, like I'm not in, and these are like movies that I'm not really typically into or something like that. I mean, Drive would be something I'm into. And Place Upon Beyond the Pines, that one's kind of like the end of the movie didn't really come together for me, but I felt for the characters, so that had something to say. And then there's like Notebook that it was like, I was like, man, that was a pretty good role for that kind of story. I'm not really into romantic movies, but that was really like, oh man, this is actually pretty good. It's like, well,
do you remember he was also in that movie Only God Forgives?
That one was what I was going to talk about. Only God Forgives. Wait, is that that's the one, right? That's the one where like I don't understand that movie at all.
Like I think it's like he's going like for like he's doing some kind of revenge plot story or whatever. I forgot. I think like his brother got killed. I don't know. It was something like that.
Yeah, his brother got killed, and his brother was a pedophiliac or some shit. I don't know. The start of the movie is like his brother is hooking up with this, like they live in Thailand or something like that, and he goes and goes to some hooker, underage hooker or some shit, ends up killing her, and then gets caught and killed, I guess. Something like that. I think
that's how it goes. I don't remember.
It says here, let's see, Julian, a drug smuggler thriving in Bangkok's criminal underworld, sees his life get even more complicated with his mother when his mother compels him to find and kill whoever is responsible for the brother's recent death. Yeah. That was like one of those movies, like I knew that it was like coming into it was like a bad movie, and then at the end of the movie I was like, oh, this was really bad. And, like,
It's one of those movies.
Yeah,
just sweep it under the rug.
Why was this? I felt like that movie definitely heavily relied on the Gosling effect too much. It was like too much to the point where it's all like there really is no payoff near the end. At like zero payoff. And then let's see, director. I mean, I agree with everybody on all the other choices pretty much, like Mads Mikkelsen and Paul Urban. I love Dredd. Dredd was like,
I forgot to add one more actor, but I'll wait for you to finish.
I mean, you say it. Go for it.
Gary Oldman.
Gary. Oh yeah.
Classic. Yeah.
Oh man.
He's another one.
Was it maybe it's like what was like how about I would say Jean Reno would be one of the actor. So I'd watch pretty much like anything that he's in.
It's been a while since I've seen him on anything.
Yeah. Wasabi, that was like a really good. I love that one. That was a good movie.
I think that's the last thing that I saw with him.
Right. And then and he was in Mission Impossible. I like that that he played in there. Yeah. There's Mission Impossible, of course.
He's been in like everything. He was in Ronin. He was in so many movies for like decades.
Right. And then director, even with bad movies, I'd still watch Luc Besson. I really like his stuff. Guy Ritchie, I fucking wanted to watch that movie that he made.
Both those.
Please don't talk about Aladdin. He directed Aladdin. I'm just like.
He did?
Yeah, he did.
Oh shit! I did not know that.
He did.
No, I tried to avoid that movie at any cost.
Exactly.
So I did not know he directed that. Oh man.
He went downhill.
Yeah, he's gonna direct the Aladdin 2.
Oh God.
Yeah,
Because
so
he directed the King Arthur movie before that, right?
Yes.
The like shitty like Charlie Hunnam one.
Mhm.
Oh man.
Another.
What happened?
Yeah, I know, right?
But I agree though. Both of those directors, they've made some good and bad things, but I like both of them.
Yeah. Guy Ritchie for me, I think the movie that sold it for me, that like I wanted to just like want to watch more of your stuff is it was between it's like Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, Snatch, and then Rock and Rolla. Those three movies are
You
the
see,
ones.
his stuff in the late 90s, early 2000s was still good.
Yeah.
Once you hit like 2000, let's say 5 and on, it just kind of starts like he kind of disappears in a sense, and then he just comes back, and he doesn't come back in a good way.
Yeah,
Well,
he did the Sherlock Holmes
what about
movies,
Sherlock
and like
Holmes?
those.
Yes, exactly.
Those were still okay. Those were mediocre.
Those are
fun.
those
are solid, but they're more solid not so much because of the directing as it is like the actors, like Robert Downey Jr. sort of carrying it. But yeah, I kind of agree. Like his earlier stuff was definitely sort of still his signature work.
I still want to watch The Gentleman, even with the reviews.
Oh yeah,
like
I haven't seen that yet.
So it's like I'd still watch it. And then Luc Besson films. The most recent one was what was that called? It's that space one. That one wasn't. It kind of just fell flat for me. Valerian. There we go.
Oh, Valerian.
Yeah. We saw that.
Oh yeah, he did direct that. Oh god.
Yeah. And then we saw Anna, and Anna's like it's not great, but it was enjoyable. Lucy, again, another one where it's like not great. It was very weird. I actually don't remember.
Lucy's it's not great.
I don't remember half of it practically.
It was stupid. Like it doesn't make any sense.
It was
like she
dumb.
takes the drug or whatever, and then like I don't remember what happens. She like he's punching her, and like it activates, and like all goes into her system, and she becomes this quantum being. I'm like,
Anna, I think, has good points, and it was really cool to watch, especially if you're like on that. Getting off of that, that high from John Wick, and then you're like just want to watch something similar to it, but not as good nearly. And same thing also with what was it, Atomic Blonde. If you're getting on that, action spy high, and you just want to watch something different that it's not going to be as good. Like it won't, but. It's almost kind of getting there, but not good enough. Definitely Anna was there. It just like some of the story fell flat, but some of the actions were good. And then they tried to do the whole spy. There's another trick and another like layer to the story. Kind of like classic spy movies would do. Big reveal. It wasn't really this. This was the plan all along.
The Fifth Element is still Luc Besson's best work by a mile, I would say. Like that's like I think still one of the most unique like movies ever made. I'm glad it like is one of those movies too where it's like it's super unique and it's high quality, but it's also just a one-off movie. Like there's no sequels or anything.
Right, yeah, that's definitely true. That would not be a good idea to make a sequel to that.
Because I did this. It was a similar thing. I mean, that happens all the time, right? I mean, you see something like Blade. The first Blade it was awesome and it's a one-off thing, and then you see the sequels and they're really bad.
Yeah, they're really goofy. The third Blade, especially I did not like that one at all.
Yeah, I like the premise of the third Blade, where it's like Blade fights Dracula. Of course, like why wouldn't he? That makes sense. Like like he fights the most powerful vampire ever. But yeah, it was really bad. I mean, even the second one, like it had its like good points, but I mean that was even directed by Guillermo del Toro, and like it it's still like not. It's still pretty bad.
Yeah,
So
it was definitely one of those things that the creature design was more interesting than the actual
oh yeah,
movie itself. I think the second one was it was interesting that you had the anomaly guy person or
right.
whatever, and there was like this kind of note of like he had a family prior to him turning into that version of himself. I don't know.
Yeah.
At least that was interesting in terms of like the enemy of my enemy is my friend almost.
Right.
But one note of that too. That was one of the first films I think that Norman Reedus and Guillermo del Toro was both working on together.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was like one of those changes for him, I guess. Yeah. Let's see. So the director and that, and then for female actors, I would say, yeah, that one's definitely another hard one for me because there's actually quite a few that for me it's not I don't have enough choices. It's just they're all kind of like scattered about. There's so many of them. But let's see. I have to say anything with the actress. I'm trying to remember what I had in mind. I think. Yeah, I think it was I haven't gotten through all the films yet of what she's in. But she was in Us. She's the main actress in that. And then
Lupita Nyong'o.
Lupita Nyong'o.
yeah, so I haven't seen all the films that she's been in, other than like the more popular ones. Of course, it's like like Black Panther, Us, and then there's the Star Wars. But I want to see I haven't seen 12 Years a Slave, and I haven't seen
There's Little Monsters too, which is supposed to be really good.
Little Monsters? Okay, yeah, okay. What's that one?
Yeah, that's on Hulu.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like they're in a lot of different roles that I haven't they're like movies that haven't really like hit that radar for me. Like this is a movie nonstop like with Liam Neeson. Like I mean, I'd watch a Liam Neeson film, but some of the fucking films I'm like I'll put it in my backlist. Like I'll watch the ones I really want to watch, and then eventually get to those.
You don't want to watch nonstop.
No problem.
I mean, he's got so many of those movies now where it's just like The Commuter, where he commutes to work on a train, and then there's some sort of terrorist plot that he has to dismantle. Like, yeah, that's kind of all the movies now.
And I bet that like Lupita doesn't have much of a role in there. Like, she's just kind of there. Like, she's not even. Yeah. She's just a background practically. But I'd like to check them out. Especially in their roles that aren't like, the super well-known ones or those leading ones. And then there's, let's see, who's another one? Oh, yeah. Fuck. She's in Quiet Place or something, right?
Emily Blunt?
Yes, Emily Blunt. Her. Yeah, I like her in those films, of course, but I actually liked her in Devil's Wears Prada. She's not a main character really, but I like her in there, and I like her in Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow, yeah, she's really good in that. She's honestly the main character, even though Tom Cruise has top billing. Like, she's really the main character in that movie.
Yeah, it's really cool, and that movie got me into reading the manga a bit, and it's cool because if you read the manga, it like goes into, of course, it's going to go into more detail and stuff like that, but it it makes it more interesting in the terms of like what they end up doing in terms of changing the world, and then how their relationship grew, because you only get the montage part of it, whereas in this one you really kind of like, you get some of the fast forward, but it's like we're talking decades worth of them going through over and over and over and over.
Interesting.
And yeah, it's really cool. I would highly suggest reading the manga if you ever get a chance, because that one, it goes into like another whole different alternative where she eventually, like it's cool. Like it's interesting because it delves more, I think, better into the relationship between him and her, and how they're both stuck in this kind of nutty Groundhog's Day situation.
Right.
And then what else? Yeah, I think that would be it for me, possibly. Is that everything? Did everybody get the chance to talk about their? So I was recording this for a while, even when Brenda had the mic cutting out stuff. It says I've been recording for an hour and 20 minutes, but I don't know how much of that is how much time of that was Brenda not hearing us.
It was probably a big chunk.
It's like 20 minutes or something. Well, we can
probably.
If we have nothing else to say for like actors and directors and stuff like that, films, maybe we can transition into like just talking maybe a little bit on another topic. Let's see. So let's see. That topic is done. Let's see. I mean, since we're talking about movies, why don't we just talk about our favorite movie? Like one that is.
Oh boy.
Like, what's your top, like, favorite movies that, or how about like your favorite movie that you'd be willing to watch over and over, even if it's a bad movie? Like, for some reason you just put it on and you just like, for whatever reason you just like putting it back on. Like, even if you have like a long list of movies that you should be probably wanting to watch, you know, you just are hesitant to it, but you always go back to this movie and you just reference it all the time, or you just have it in your head all the time. Like, what is that movie for you? And yeah.
I mean, I probably have a lot of those movies, but I would say off the top of my head, it's not a bad movie. It's actually, I really love the movie, but for some reason I keep coming back to it, like, again and again, like, almost to a nonsensical degree. Like, I keep watching it. I've watched it like 8 times this year already, and I'm like, I don't know why I keep watching it, honestly. Like, it's really good, but like, I'm not really sure why I keep watching it, but I just have a lot of fun with it. And that movie is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Okay.
That's not even my favorite Tarantino movie, but like, I fucking really love it. Like, I really have a lot of fun with it every time I watch it. And I know like Carlos, like, because we've talked about it obviously a lot offline, and he thinks it's boring, and I it's one of those movies where I'm like, I totally understand why you think it's boring. Like, I 100% can see your perspective of like, yeah, I get why this would be really boring to a lot of people. Like, it is kind of meandering in a lot of ways, and it's not necessarily as focused as some of Tarantino's other stuff, but yeah, it's just, I like the character work in it. I like the inclusion of all the Manson family weird shit, like, that they do. Like, they show like Manson only in like one scene, but then like Cliff Booth's, who, you know, is played by Brad Pitt, like, his whole storyline where he meets the girl, the hitchhiker, and like he takes her to Spawn Ranch, and like, that's like the whole Manson family. And you even have like Tex, who's like, he was Manson's like right hand and stuff in there, and like, it's fucking creepy, and you're not sure what's gonna happen, and it ultimately doesn't really, it doesn't like, he's fine in the scene, but it ends up coming back in the big payoff in like the final scene where they break into Rick Dalton's house and like Brad Pitt and his dog like kill all the people, and then Rick Dalton fucking flamethrowers the chick in the pool. But yeah, it's just like that whole movie and the way they sort of integrate like historical figures like Sharon Tate and like I don't know why I can't remember his fucking name right now, but yeah, they have so many like fictional characters interwoven with like real historical characters like Bruce Lee and stuff. Even if it's not necessarily an accurate depiction of him, it's like Tarantino's alternate universe version of like what would happen if like the Manson family murders on that specific night, like what would happen if those fictional characters had actually been around to like detract the fucking followers of Manson to like go after Rick Dalton because he's a fucking drunk and he's like obnoxious and stuff, instead of going after Sharon Tate and like Abigail Folger and stuff. And yeah, it's a really fun movie. It's really funny. It's got a lot of the classic Tarantino-isms and stuff, and yeah, the whole second act of that movie where it's just like one day and like you got Rick Dalton on set and then you got Cliff Booth with the Manson family chick going to the Spawn Ranch. It's just like it's really, really well done. And I every time I watch it, like after I finish watching it, I'm like, man, I kind of want to watch it again right now. but I stop myself for like as long as I can, and usually it doesn't last for like more than a month. But yeah, that movie is pretty great, and it's for some reason just like totally just stuck in my head forever for whatever reason.
Yeah, that was definitely a good movie. I think one of those things I understand, like people are I feel like after a while when directors make a certain set amount of movies, people have expectations, and there's like that expectation isn't met necessarily, and that's what I feel like the reviews kind of like hung up on, especially that they wanted this like dialogue engaged kind of violent with the violence involved in this alternate universe, and it's like it did have that stuff. It's just that it didn't have like the kind of dialogue that people like a lot of people were expecting.
Yeah, and I'm sure it wasn't as action-packed as a lot of people were expecting too. Like, it doesn't have very much action aside from that last scene, and then like
it became explosive at the very end, definitely.
Yeah,
it's like damn, it's like bam. Let's go crazy.
I think for me, like one of the movies that it's an old classic, but it's like I was like I gotta watch it, but it's not like the best. But for me, it is Predator.
Oh yeah.
That one I always have to watch it.
You mean like which one? What the
original one? Predator.
The only good one.
Yeah.
Of that franchise.
But I mean, there is Predators with
Predators was pretty good.
That one's okay. It's alright.
It had the most potential since the original.
Oh yeah,
sure.
That's the Robert Rodriguez one.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's the one when they end up going to the actual planet or like one of the planets and they get hunted down.
Yeah, that one has a lot of awesome actors. There's Adrian Brody and Mahershala Ali and Lawrence Fishburne. Yeah,
Fishburne, the crazy Lawrence Fishburne.
I love that. Yeah. I love that he's the fucking nutbag in there. That's just hilarious.
Yeah, that's that. I wish they had gone further into his storyline for that movie.
Yeah, like whenever you see like him playing somebody so like kind of ridiculous to some degree, I like it. I like it when you see him.
Yeah, like him and John Wick. He's great.
Yeah.
He's so over the top. Like, it works so well.
Yeah. I love that. It's just so... It's like he has a gravitas there that is kind of insane.
He's like, we're going to Applebee's. It's like, oh my god. John Wick. I was laughing so bad.
Oh my god. And he's still alive. It's so fucking weird.
Yeah.
After that, like... I was like, huh? Funny. Another great actor that I definitely would watch his stupid, like whatever stupid thing he would do.
Yeah.
What else is there? Oh, right. Okay, so you said Predator, right?
Mhm.
Okay. I would say, let's see, what is a movie that I'd say over and over and over? I think we already said it. It was like Fifth Element is a movie that I'd like put up. I remember I would have a binge of that movie just over and over and over again. I remember also when I was young. I don't watch it anymore now. It's kind of one of those things where, like, when I was young, it was like, I don't know why I would watch it. It was just for some reason. I just keep watching it. I watch The Mask a lot.
Oh yeah, so did I. Yeah.
I just over and over and over. So,
Yeah.
I don't know why I was like doing that to myself. I got to a point where I like remembered the lines and shit, but nowadays,
Oh yeah,
I
me
can't
too.
even remember a single line. Yeah, there was that.
Yeah, I mean, I watched that one a lot. I think because, I mean, I was just a huge Jim Carrey fan.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Like,
I think that's
just,
what it was.
Yeah,
For sure.
because I was watching that and like another one that I really love. Speaking of Jim Carrey, is Dumb and Dumber. I just fucking love that movie so much.
Yeah.
Like, it's so infinitely rewatchable to me. Like, it's,
Oh man.
because they're just so absurd, and it's, it's just
That's true.
the situations just get like more and more ridiculous until the very end, and it's
Yeah.
it's great.
His imagination of making out with her and like the fucking
And he's like fighting the chef and shit. in the
Yeah.
restaurant.
Oh my god. And it like it's so yeah, it is really funny. That had a lot of funny moments. I think also the what they lost in terms of the comedy when they made the second one was like the how like it's Dumb and Dumber, but it's still clever in the way that they get into the situation. You know, like they'll like the play on dialogue where like when they're like especially the guys that were like chasing him down, like those two.
Yeah, the
Like
assassin.
they gave him more credit than they were supposed to.
Yeah,
That's what that was.
and they still end
So
up murdering them like
stupid.
unintentionally.
Yeah, it's just it's basic. Okay, so I think I know how you can nail like why that one was so rewatchable. It's the Mr. Magoo effect, where it's so ridiculous. Like he, it that of the situations he gets into, that he still is able to get out of it unscathed. You know,
Right.
he just accidentally runs into victory. That's what it works for him. Almost to some degree, where I feel like what's that? Damn, what's that? Shoot, what's that show? It's a UK show. He doesn't speak at all. Mr.
Bean.
Bean, yes,
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Bean,
Yeah.
yes. He's such a dumb character.
Yeah, that's like the whole crux of Mr. Bean. Yeah,
You know,
that-
and
he's just like so inept and like bumbling, but like he somehow is like a spy in one movie and like
Yeah.
a CEO in another one. It's
And
like,
it's
how did
like when he
do it?
did speak, it was like a super deep voice too. It was like
Right.
super deep. I was like, what? That doesn't make sense.
yeah, he barely talks. Yeah, he doesn't even say anything. He's not. It's almost as if he can't say anything at all. You know, he
Yeah.
doesn't know English. Like that's. I think that's also like one of the things I liked about him too, because like, I remember like like some family members didn't know English too well, and I didn't know how to speak Chinese, so it was pretty difficult having to communicate with him. So it was like one of those issues of just trying to bumbling our ways into figuring out what we mean.
Yeah.
So yeah. But yeah. Fifth Element. What else is Judge Dredd? I would watch Dredd over and over again. I've been having this itch
Wait,
to watch.
Dredd or Judge Dredd?
Sorry. Well, no. Technically
There's two,
both.
yeah, because that's the
No,
one
no,
with
technically
Sylvester
both.
Stallone.
So I
Yeah.
would watch. I still would watch. Believe it or not,
That one,
that
the
was
first one is
Yeah.
it's
really bad.
really
but
bad.
it's-
Yeah, it's really bad.
It's fun. Like it's
I
fun and how bad it is.
Yeah, I will watch that over and over just because of the way he said, "I am the law."
I am the law.
I am the law. It's so funny. Oh my god! And then Rob Snyder, man, he's like stupid too.
Yeah, Snyder, man, he's kind of the eternal loser in like all of his
Oh
movies.
man,
unfortunately.
I feel so bad for him. He doesn't like
Yeah,
even in his like main, even in his movies when he's like the main role, like even
he's still a
he's-
loser.
he's still- yeah,
In the movies.
it's like there was like why?
The Animal or whatever, where he like fucking. I don't even remember the premise. Like something happens, he gets
Something
in an
like-
accident or
yeah,
something, and like
hypnotist
the
or
vet
something?
like injects him like
Oh.
the fucking like something like all the animals like behaviors into his brain or
Oh my
something.
God.
I don't even fucking remember. But it was like.
I never
so-
saw that movie. I'm like, this looks really
Yeah,
horrible.
Yeah, you're better off.
It's almost like a Dr. Doolittle with what's his face, Robert Downey Jr. I heard that
Oh,
did really
yeah.
bad.
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah,
I heard the
I
story
haven't
was
seen
pretty
it, but
flat
it's
or
supposed to
something.
be. Yeah, not great.
Mhm.
What was a flat story that I think I recently saw? Oh, actually, you know what? Wait. Was that? I think. What about I don't know. Okay, whatever. So anyways, Judge Dredd. I would watch that over because it's ridiculous. And then Dread, I would watch that easily just because it was just
Because
so
it's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's so insanely entertaining. And positively so, you know, like not accidentally entertaining, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Where
Yeah.
like they like just the characters and the violence in it was just so and then the really cool effect of whenever they're like taking the drug into was
The
just
slow mo, yeah.
yeah, it was like
Yeah.
oh, that's a pretty interesting.
Yeah, especially when he like throws Mama off at the end, and like she gets to like see her death at like 1,000 times slower. Than
Yeah.
it's actually happening.
Yeah, and I also like that they threw in, you know, other corrupt dreads in there too.
Yeah.
They didn't just like stick with just, you know, the one note of like, oh, this is a bad guy, defeat him. This is a gangster. All right, judge him. And then the play on the whole psychic abilities, that was really cool.
Right.
That was like very different from what we've like I guess known. And I, you know, like to give some merit to like the first that Stallone one, like I did like that they showed those like like hick type characters or whatever, the ones that are like surviving outside the walls.
Yeah.
The just the makeup and stuff like that, the special effects was super cool.
Mhm.
And then you know, some honorable mentions I'd say on like shows and stuff like that, or even foreign films even. So shows would be like Hannibal. For some reason, I've been just like I want to get that. I want to scratch that itch again to rewatch the series.
Yeah, I've been meaning to rewatch that too.
Yeah.
That's an excellent series.
Yeah.
It's like it's one of those series where it's just like not only is every episode great, but like there's no filler at all. Like it's all like literally every second of that series has a point, and it's just that's like super rare. See?
Yeah, super rare indeed. Series tends to like have these issues where like they forget where they're going, or they don't. Excuse me, they don't have a direction where they want to go, and they kind of like wing it on their way.
Right.
It's like,
and they have to fill out the episodes because they have a certain number. They have an order of episodes, like a quota to meet, and so. But the writers only like the story only takes up like maybe 8 episodes, but they have to like fill out 16, which is like what happened to The Walking Dead, basically, where it just like devolved into just garbage
Yeah, that just kept
Just
on
crap.
going
for that
on
exact
and on.
reason, because it was just like, well, we want to tell a story, but like AMC's like, sure, but you got to do it over this set of episodes, like 16 full episodes.
Right.
Even if like the story that you want to tell only could be told much better in like 4 or 5 episodes.
I see. Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, for sure. Then they started doing things that like just for the shock value.
Oh yeah.
That's definitely a killer right there. I think it's like one of those signs where they should have been ended this show much
That
sooner.
show should have ended years ago.
Right. Yeah. So many people were just like holding on to it. It's unfortunate. And then the foreign film I'd watched over and over again would be like Man from Nowhere. That one for sure, like, is on my list of things of I'll like if I have nothing else to watch, there's nothing worth kind of like putting in the time. I guess that's definitely the movie that will fill up some of that. Put in the background, watch it.
Yeah, that movie is excellent.
Yeah.
I remember, like that's just one of those hidden gems on Netflix that like you didn't hear about or anything. And like I think just watched the movie because you were talking to me about it, Sean, and like and then you showed it to me, and I was like, oh man, this is awesome. And then we showed it to like D'Angelo, and he's like, oh, this is awesome. And then you show it to Chris, and it's like it passes strictly by word of mouth.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. It's definitely one of those. That's definitely one of those movies.
And another one of those movies are the Raid movies.
Oh, like, yes, right. The Raid movies.
Like, the Raid 2 in particular is actually, I mean, that movie is like one of my top 5 movies of all time. Where, like, I have to, like, the fight scenes in those movies have ruined me for, like, every other martial arts movie. Every time I'm, like, watching another one, I'm like, man, like this is good, but it's not as good as the Raid, like or the Raid 2. It's just not. Like it's just, and then you have like the weird eccentric characters in like the Raid 2 specifically, like Hammer Girl and Baseball Batman, and like it's so fucking well done. Like it's surprising. It just hasn't been surpassed.
Yeah, it's surprising that even with the sequel that they were able to do something different that wasn't just making the combat like more extravagant or something. It it did a thing in a lot of, I think, good martial arts movies do, is build like the villain. It's like a really cool, it's like a simple gamey kind of concept of like you're building up the bosses you're defeating, and that's the exciting part about it, is to be able to see them get defeated by the your or not get defeated or something, because they're like they're this just really mysterious, or maybe not, they're mysterious, cool obstacle for the main character to go through. And,
and you're building up the main character too, because there's real stakes for him, right? And like he's being put through hell. I mean, like the whole like first act of the Raid 2 is him in prison for like and it's he has to break his way out by going undercover with like the syndicate that he's trying to take down, and it's and he's left behind by the cops that implanted him in prison, so he has to like find his own way out, and it's super interesting.
Yeah, it added a bit of different elements like spy movies, and then that a classic thing that happens in there's even like some Chinese martial arts films, like some Chow Yun-fat films where like where he builds a relationship with the person that he's trying to capture, almost, and there's like this brotherhood between them to some degree, and then the stake is even higher for like their eventual like fight or their eventual demise in some sense. So yeah, I agree. Like it has that gangster cop element, the little bit of that spy, and then sprinkled in with the spice of the different like hired assassins that they have like very distinct ways of fighting, and you don't get a lot of dialogue from them, but you just you get that they're like
barely any.
Yeah, you get that there's something behind them that's a fleshed out character, but that's not what's important. You know, like it's really cool, and it's really centered around that action. So I agree with you. That's another films that I'd say like for some reason like I would watch like rewatch Raid 2, or especially Raid and Dread together, just because they have that concept of like they're
both very
stuck.
Die Hard movies.
Yeah, yeah,
right? Where it's
yes,
like it's
exactly.
it's one building.
Yeah,
and you like they're ascending or they're trying to get like one target.
Right, and they're just going through hell just to get around. It's pretty cool, really enjoyable. But what about like recently I showed Brenda Lethal Weapon, like all the Lethal Weapons. I still enjoy all those films.
I mean, I've watched and rewatched those movies like my entire life. The same thing with the Die Hard movies, like specifically Die Hard, and then with The Vengeance, the third one. Like, all those movies, like, man, they're just they're just the best. Like, I just love them. Like, I could really watch them anytime.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, those are on the honorary lists as well. All right, let's see. I think is that everybody? Yeah, we all three of us talked about it. Okay, cool. All right. So we'll end this podcast, and we'll see y'all next time. I think next time though, hopefully, I think what we're gonna have is a topic on DC and Marvel comics or movies. So pretty much just all of it as a whole. You know, like what we want to talk about, positive, negatives, and what we hope to see in the future too. So yeah, and thanks for listening, y'all. Bye-bye.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.
We're not just good. We're goob.